Hey, this is Stephanie here with CreatingWithin.com, your place to get in touch with your inner world. And I know that I haven't made any topic videos lately, but I do hope that you've been enjoying the last 3 candid conversations I shared with you, and that you were able to learn something from it that you could implement in your life. Now, I know you might be wondering where in the world I am. Since the last time I spoke with you, I was in Bali and making my way towards Thailand. Since then, I spent 2 months in Thailand. I went back to Bali for a few weeks, and now I've been in the south of France for the last 2 months. So that's a little bit about where I've been and where I am, but that's enough about me, because today what I want to talk to you about is learning how to value your core values. Because one thing I've been noticing is that most of our problems and situations that we constantly find ourselves in comes down to a lack of strong core values. So today, I want to encourage you to look at your core values and see what are those values that are defining your life. See, most companies in the world today have a set of core values in which they claim that all their decisions are based and backed up by these few values. But the really successful companies who stand out above the rest are those who not only have clearly defined strong core values, but they're the ones who live and stand up for their values. Because after all, it is their core values that got them to where they are today. And so maintaining the integrity of those core values is the most important thing above all else if they are to maintain their position of success. But like companies, each person also has a set of personal core values in which they lead their life with, whether they're aware of it or not. So, what are core values? To simply put it, core values are a set of beliefs and philosophies that we hold true about life. Values are the ideas and beliefs that you're willing to fight for and sometimes even die for. These core values not only give you a sense of purpose in society and the world at large, but it's also the compass that points you in the direction of your purpose. Studies have shown that having strong core values leads to more happy and fulfilled lives long term. And also, if you think about it, having strong core values are the prerequisite to having any kind of healthy relationship, whether romantic or otherwise. Something to ponder on, which tells us a little bit about why so many of us have very conflicting relationships in all aspects of our lives. You know, one thing I've noticed is that people who lack strong core values also lack weak boundaries. For example, if you're a person who considers yourself worthy only if those people around you, friends, family, find you helpful, then you're going to fall prey to the can't say no syndrome. And this is going to lead more times than not for people to take advantage of you. Why? Because you're basing your values on the needs and expectations of others rather than your own. And this is a sure recipe that people are going to cross your boundaries easily. Ask yourself, who are you really and where are your values? See, most of us tend to hang on to values that we were taught to as kids, whether indirectly or directly from our friends, our families, our religion, and even popular media. And we don't even question them. And most of us are completely oblivious to the fact that our own individuality is being overshadowed by mass opinion. And you know, it doesn't help that society rewards the valueless, and that sometimes it even punishes you for having strong core values, which is why it's easy for you to look around and see how many people really don't have strong core values, and then we wonder why the world is a crazy place. It's part of the way our society has programmed us. But still, if you're someone who's committed to growth and owning your own life, then it's crucial for you to define your core values, because your core values help you define who you are and the kind of life you want to lead. Because we make decisions based on the things that we value, and our decisions shape our reality. It's a simple equation. So for example, I want you to take somebody who's an aspiring actor or actress, whose primary focus is money and fame, and they're about to try their hand out at their career. This means that they're going to start having to make life choices. And these choices are most likely going to be based on what they value. And since this person has such a high value and emphasis on being successful, they'll most likely do anything and take any opportunity that comes their way for a star role instead of being selective, which can put a person in very compromising and uncomfortable situations. Let's take another example. Let's say that you're a person who values honesty, and therefore it's easy for you to identify yourself as an honest person and visualize yourself engaging in behaviors that reflect that value of honesty. But now let's say that you work for a company who conducts business in a dishonest manner. What's going to happen is that you're going to find yourself in conflict. Your company's work ethic is now in conflict with your core value of honesty. And when this happens, you're going to tend to have a lot of stress and frustration at work. And you're going to experience cognitive dissonance. So now, in order to resolve this cognitive dissonance that's going to arise through the conflict of your value versus the company's values, you're going to have a couple of choices. You can either leave your job, or you can report the unethical behavior to the authorities, or on the other hand, you can reprioritize your core value and change your subjective sense of self, which basically means that you're now going to value honesty less and you're going to value job security more. And what's going to happen when you do this is that along the road, you're going to start associating yourself as a dishonest person, because you're no longer valuing honesty, you're now valuing job security. So your decisions are now going to come from a place of security versus honesty. So as you can see from these examples, it shows you why it's crucial to define your core value, because they influence the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis, and they define who you are and how other people see you and how you see yourself. And you know, having strong core value teaches you about self-worth, because it teaches you not to compromise unnecessarily, because those who lack strong core values are usually the ones who take on a career path that isn't really what they want to do, but maybe it's what their parents wanted. They're the ones who take on a job simply for the money because they want to have an image, or they want to be able to compete with what their friends or what society has. They're the ones who can find themselves in manipulative and disrespectful relationships, and they stick around solely because they don't want to be lonely or they're afraid to lose love. So therefore, you constantly find yourself in situations that are less than ideal, where people are mistreating you or taking advantage of you. So if you see a theme in your life where you feel like you're constantly taken advantage of or being mistreated, I think it's time for you to look at your values and see what they are, because most likely you lack values or they're not strong enough, and therefore they're causing you to have weak boundaries. Instead of making a New Year's resolution today that so many of us do but we never stick with, instead, I want you to really hone in and hammer out what values have been driving your life up to now. Doing this is going to be much better than creating any temporary resolution, because when you hammer out your values and you start to define them, this is going to allow you to now really take control of your life and lead it with much more clarity and awareness. So what I want you to do is I want you to look back at your decisions and try to see and remember what caused you to make those choices in that moment. What was driving you? What value were you valuing more that made you make that decision? Write them down, try to identify them, and see if you can start seeing a pattern. Most likely than not, you'll start seeing a pattern, and then you'll be able to identify which values have you been valuing more that have been making your decisions for you. You can use some of the examples I gave you earlier. And then once you identify these values, I want you to see if these values are actually yours and if they're helping you become the kind of person that you want to be. And if not, then it's time to start over. But don't overwhelm yourself. Take it step by step. Define your new values, what they are. And then little by little, you can start making choices and decisions that are aligned with those values. And then, importantly, you start communicating those values to others. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you define your value now in your personal relationship as time. You value your time, therefore you want other people to value and respect your time. Now it's time to put it in action. How do you put it in action? Is you lead by example. If you want other people to respect your time, that means you have to start by respecting your time. Meaning that you will not engage with anyone who does not make time for you. And if somebody doesn't respect your time, then you're going to communicate to them how that is unacceptable for you. And if the behavior continues, then you will not engage in that type of behavior because you value your time. And what's going to happen is two things. People respect people who have strong core values, and they will rise up to meet you. And those who don't will just leave your experience because they're not people that you need in your life anyways. And you'll find that you have less drama in your life, and you'll stop complaining about how people don't respect you or how people take you for granted. So now that we've talked about all of this, go and explore your values, and then leave me a comment below and let me know what you've learned through exploring your own values. Keep communicating, connecting, and creating.